7 trillion naira at the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing AIM of committing a gross offence.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosu.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James, and it is many thanks for joining us. Quickly a look at the news making the rounds for today. Reps hit back at Senate, ignore bills for concurrence. Sudan Sovereignty Council calls for unity after failed coup attempt. Joe Biden plays down chances of UK-US trade deal. Nigeria-China trade volume tops $20 billion. Lewandowski wins European Golden Shoe ahead of Messi and Ronaldo. Stay with us to bring you the news in details just right after this timeout. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and now the news in full. Reps hit back at Senate, ignore bills for concurrence. The House of Representatives has stepped down second reading of 2 bills transmitted to it from the Senate for concurrence in protest against the alleged abandonment of bills from the House by the upper chamber. A mild drama had played out when the House got to items 2 and 3 in the bills section of the day's other paper. The chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Abubakar Fulata, asked that the first bill be stepped down as the majority leader, Al-Hassan Ado Doguwa, who was to lead the debate on the legislation, was not on seat. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, before ruling on the prayer, asked to meet with some leaders of the chamber who approached him where he was elected. After some minutes, Gbajabiamila asked Fulata to guide the House on what action to be taken on the bill. The House had on June 9, 2021, the third time within 4 months, accused the Senate of not concurring with bills transmitted to it, threatening to reciprocate by not passing bills from the other chamber. And moving forward, no response from federal government, says ASUU. The Academic Staff Union of Universities said the ultimatum it issued in July did not elicit any response from the federal government. The national president of ASUU, Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke, in an interview stated that the government had not implemented the agreement it reached with the union nor responded to the ultimatum. The union had on July 19 issued a fresh ultimatum to the federal government to pay the outstanding 10-month arrears of its members' salaries or be prepared for another industrial action. The union gave the government till August 31st to meet its demands, including the resolution of issues relating to the integrated payroll and personal information system platform. Between September 10 and September 2021, all ASUU zones across the country held press conferences calling on the government to implement their demands. They also asked Nigerians to hold the federal government responsible if the university lecturers embarked on another strike. The union had accused the government of not implementing the agreement it signed with lecturers in December 2020. In March 2020, ASUU embarked on a strike action following its disagreement with the federal government over the funding of the universities, the IP's implementation of the University Transparency Accountability Solution, funding and revitalization of public universities and academic allowances, promotion arrears, and renegotiation of 2009 ASUU federal government agreement. In another development, court adjourns as federal government AGF Army Sean Kanu's right suit. The Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Attorney General of the Federation, the Nigerian Army, and 3 other respondents are yet to file their responses to the fundamental human rights suit instituted against them by Nnamdi Kanu in Umuahia, Abia State. Only 2 of the 8 respondents, the DSS in Abuja and Umuahia, filed their replies to the suit. Consequently, the court proceeding, which held amidst heavy presence of security at the Abia State High Court Umuahia, was adjourned to October 7, 2021. In his ruling, the vacation judge Justice KCJ Okereke added that Kanu shall be entitled to certain reliefs against any party that fails to timely respond to the suit. Meanwhile, at the court, an Apex Igbo socio-cultural organization, the Alaigbo Development Foundation, filed an application seeking leave of the court to file an amicus brief in support of Kanu. Speaking to the media, Kanu's lawyer Aloy Ejimako says there is an unbroken chain of federal government violations of Kanu's constitutional rights that started with the lethal military invasion of his home in Umuahia and his flight to safety in 2017 and his extraordinary extradition to Nigeria in late June 2021. He expressed his confidence in the capacity of the Abia High Court to uphold the law by enforcing Kanu's human rights. Ejimako had on the 27th of August 2021 filed before the Abia Court a suit on Kanu's fundamental rights. And now bringing you news stories coming from around Africa. Sudan Sovereignty Council calls for unity after failed coup attempt. The head of Sudan Sovereignty Council called for unity after a reported failed coup attempt by a group of soldiers. General Abdel Fattah Burhan made the plea during a visit to the military base in Khartoum. Despite the attempted coup, the country's ruling council and military remain in control. It did, however, underscore the fragility of Sudan's path to democracy more than 2 years after the military's overthrow of longtime autocrat Omar al-Bashir amid a public uprising against his 3-decade rule. A military official said an unspecified number of troops from the Armored Corps were behind the attempt and that they tried to take over several government institutions but were stopped in their tracks. The official, who spoke on condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to brief the media, said over 36 troops, including high-ranking officers, have been arrested. Meanwhile, some Sudanese citizens in Khartoum expresses their rejection to the attempted coup involving military officers and civilians linked to the ousted regime of longtime autocrat Omar al-Bashir. And still from around Africa, Burundi's government vows to probe deadly terrorist grenade blasts. Burundi has vowed a thorough investigation into a series of deadly terrorist grenade blasts that hit the economic capital, Bujumbura. The attacks late on Monday followed a deadly grenade explosion in a bar in the capital Gitega, and Sunday a series of mortar shells fired on Burundi's international airport on Saturday night. The Interior Ministry said in a statement that 2 people were killed when still unidentified terrorists hurled grenades into a Bujumbura parking lot near a market. There were no claims of responsibility for the grenade attacks in Bujumbura or at the Gitega bar on Sunday, which left 2 people dead. No one was injured in that assault, launched a day before President Evariste Ndayishimiye flew out of the UN General Assembly in New York. Red Tabara, which has a rare base in South Kivu in the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo, emerged 10 years ago and is now the most active of Burundi's rebel groups. It is accused of being behind many deadly attacks or ambushes across the East African country since 2015. In 2020, it said it was behind a series of attacks that killed more than 40 people from the security forces and the Youth League of the ruling CNDD-FDD party. The Burundian government and many diplomats believed at the time that the rebel group, made up of an estimated 500 to 800 men, was led by one of the fiercest opponents of the state, Alexis Sidunhije, who has always denied the claims. Right now, we'll be taking a break, and when we return, we shall be bringing you news updates from the foreign scene. Do well to stay with us.
Glory be to God. The impact train is still moving around the world. Do you live in Enugu State? Do you live in Anambra State? Do you live in Imo State? Do you live in Ebonyi State? I'm coming to Abia. I'll be in Umuahia for Impact 2021. Are you believing God for a touch in your life? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? You have tried the rest. Why not try the best? Jesus makes the difference. I see your village. I'm hearing something like Uli.
Je vois ton village, j'entends non?
Uli. Yes, sir. I speak with a man. It's like your husband. His name is Aloma.
Son nom c'est Aloma.
Say they shall confess. They shall confess. I saw two people holding a book. And in that book that I'm seeing in the realm of the spirit, I saw an appointment that should favor you. But one of them is saying they should cancel it. Do you know Bata? Yes, sir. I know Bata. There's a man I'm seeing there. And that man has been looking for how to help you. But they keep blocking you. But God said to tell you, by the power of the Holy Ghost, you shall be helped. If you're in a wheelchair, rise up from the wheelchair. Raise your walking aid. Raise it.
Soulève ça.
Run.
Go.
Look at another one here.
Regarde, un marche. Un marche.
Miracles.
Un miracle. Deux béquilles là-bas. Au nom de
So many
Jésus.
miracles. Let her walk. Let her walk.
Papa, this woman has been using this walking aid for 3 years. She said without this flame, she could not stand and she could not walk. As she released the healing power, she dropped the flame and started walking.
Give God a shout. I'm coming to Umuahia because of you.
Date 5th and 6th October 2021. Happening at the International Conference Center, Ogurube Layout beside CBN, Umuahia, Abia State, Nigeria. The time is 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. GMT +1. For inquiries, please call.
Welcome back. Moving forward, Joe Biden plays down chances of UK-US trade deal. Joe Biden has played down the chances of brokering a post-Brexit free trade deal with the UK as he held talks with Boris Johnson at the White House. Downing Street said its priority was still getting a deal with the US alone. UK ministers are now considering joining an existing North American trade pact instead of pursuing a separate deal. The two leaders also discussed Northern Ireland, climate change, and Afghanistan during the 90-minute meeting. However, Mr. Johnson had earlier also downplayed chances of securing a deal with the U.S. before the next general election, saying the Americans do negotiate very hard. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office before the talks, Mr. Biden said the pair would discuss trade a little bit, adding that they are going to work that through. A deal would encourage trade by making it cheaper, usually by reducing or eliminating taxes called tariffs. Bringing you more updates in from Asia, Taliban asked to speak at UN General Assembly in New York. The Taliban have asked to address world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly this week in New York City. A UN committee will rule on the request, but it is unlikely to happen during the current session of the body. The Taliban also nominated their Doha-based spokesperson Sahal Shaheen as Afghanistan's UN ambassador. The group, which seized control of Afghanistan last month, said the envoy for the ousted government no longer represented the country. The request to participate in the high-level debate is being considered by a credentials committee whose 9 members include the US, China, and Russia, according to a UN spokesperson. But they are likely, or rather unlikely, to meet before the end of the General Assembly session next Monday. Until then, under the UN rules, Gulen Isaksai will remain Afghanistan's ambassador to the global body. No government has formally recognized the Taliban as Afghanistan's new government, and for the UN to agree to its nominee for ambassador would be an important step towards international acceptance. The Taliban also said that the several countries no longer recognize former President Ashraf Ghani as leader. Mr. Ghani abruptly left Afghanistan as Taliban militants advanced on the capital Kabul on 15th August. He has since taken refuge in the United Arab Emirates. Now bringing you news stories from the world of business. Nigeria-China trade volume tops $20 billion. The Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Ambassador Qiu Zhengchun, has said that the trade volume between its country and Nigeria was $20 billion in 2020 despite the coronavirus pandemic. During the period, the envoy explained China's GDP also grew to $15.7 trillion from $10 billion in 1952. Addressing a news conference in Abuja on Tuesday to mark the Moon Festival, one of the most important traditional holidays in China, Zhengchun disclosed that Chinese firms and nationals had donated cash and materials valued at 3 billion naira to Nigeria as COVID-19 support. According to him, the Asian powerhouse has provided 3 batches of medical aid and also shared its experience on epidemic prevention and control with the federal government. The envoy said the Chinese government planned to donate 500,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines to Nigeria, noting that the first batch was under consideration. He said China's
Two winners, 50 videos, Wonders Without Number raffle draw with Apostle Johnson Suleiman. This September, the world is itching to hear your testimony. Send your testimony videos now and stand a chance to speak with the Restoration Apostle Johnson Suleiman via private Zoom meeting, direct call or physical meeting. Send in your video testimonies now. You might just be that winner. Your time has come.
Welcome back, and now it's news stories from the world of sports. Lewandowski wins European Golden Shoe ahead of Messi and Ronaldo. Europe's Golden Shoe winner Robert Lewandowski sent out a warning to defenses around Europe when he likened himself to a good wine that was still improving. The Bayern Munich striker also offered warm praise and thanks to his wife Anna when he received the award as top scorer in the European football last season. Lewandowski netted 41 times in 29 games for Bayern in the 2020-2021 season, breaking the great Gerd Muller's record of 40 goals in Bundesliga season set in 1971-72. His tally represents the highest in Europe since Cristiano Ronaldo bagged 48 goals in Real Madrid in 2014-15. The 33-year-old forward insisted, though, that there were still plenty more goals and titles yet to come. At the ceremony held at Bayer Allianz Arena, the Poland striker was effusive in his praise for his wife, who is also his personal motivation coach. A former Polish international karateka, Anna Lewandowski, is also a nutritionist and oversees her husband's diet. Lewandowski is the only and the second Bundesliga player to win the award after Müller, who won in 1970 and 1972. Lionel Messi has won the award a record 6 times, while Ronaldo has taken it 4 times, but they only scored 30 and 29 goals respectively in 2020 to 2021. In another sports news, and finally on News Desk, 10 athletes to represent Nigeria at 2022 Winter Olympics. Following the successful completion of its inaugural Olympics trials in Lagos, the Bobsled and Skeleton Federation of Nigeria has stated that 10 athletes would represent Nigeria at the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics Games. Technical Director BSFN Dr. Seun Adigun disclosed this in Lagos. Adigun, who played a key role in Nigeria's debut at the last Winter Olympics Games in Pyeongchang, South Korea, said they will have 2 athletes for bobsled, 2 in the monobob women's team, and 2 athletes for the bobsled men's team, 2 male skeleton and 2 female skeleton athletes for the national team. President BSFN Solomon Ogba stated that the team will train on ice in Europe ahead of the Winter Games. History was made earlier in the year when 6 athletes who were selected from the first ever trials in Lagos trained and participated on ice for the first time in Pyeongchang. And that's the size of the news for today from News Desk on Celebration TV. But in case you missed out, here's a recap of the news making the rounds. Reps hit back at Senate, ignore bills for concurrence. Sudan Sovereignty Council calls for unity after failed coup attempt. Joe Biden plays down chances of UK-US trade deal. Nigeria-China trade volume tops $20 billion. Lewandowski wins European Golden Shoe ahead of Messi and Ronaldo. And now to the photo of the day. Now clearly we can see a man trying to render assistance, but at the same time concerned about having it captured with his device. Now be good to people because it is the right thing to do, and not because you are doing so to seek attention. Well, we would also love to hear your thoughts, your opinion on the photo of the day, so do well to reach back to us via our social media platforms. On Facebook, Celebration TV; on Instagram, My Celebration TV; on Twitter, at My Celebration TV; and on YouTube, Celebration TV. Your positive contribution to the wellness of the society you find yourself or the organization you work defines your leadership might. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed has bagged his ways to success. So be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either has a positive or negative effect on humanity and our national well-being. So be a part of nation building today. I am Comfort James, and it is many thanks for watching.
To 15.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing aim of committing a gross of
The All Progressives Congress has